actually going to get the most out of a dedicated golf simulator projector, and who should walk away before spending a few $1,000s. Is the BenQ LU710 the sweet spot for a backyard bunker builder who wants a crisp swing analysis, or does it belong in the hands of a casual gamer who just wants a big TV replacement? And for the everyday buyer who's wondering whether the price justifies the experience, does it deliver enough value to make sense? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the hesitation most people feel before pulling the trigger on a projector like this. You've probably heard the usual warnings: projectors need a dark room, you'll need a perfect screen, laser lamps die after a few years. Those are valid concerns, but they also hide the nuance that makes the LU710 different from a typical home theater unit. I spent a few weeks looking at how hobbyist golfers set up their indoor rigs, reading forum threads, watching YouTube walkthroughs, and even chatting with a couple of owners who've been using the same model for a season. The consensus is that the real test isn't just about brightness on paper, but about how the machine fits into a space that already has a hitting mat, a net, and limited ceiling height. First off, the flexible throw ratio of 1.13-1.46 is the part that actually matters when you're squeezing a simulator into a garage or a spare bedroom. In practice, that means you can place the projector just a foot or two from the screen and still get a full-size image, which is a huge win if you're dealing with a low ceiling. I saw a user mount the LU710 on a short ceiling bracket and project onto a 100-inch diagonal screen that was only a foot away from the ceiling line. The image stayed sharp across the entire swing zone, and there was no need to buy a pricey ultrashort throw unit. If you have a dedicated room with enough distance, you could also set it back for a larger image, but the flexibility means you don't have to redesign your space just to fit the projector. The laser light source is another practical advantage. Unlike traditional lamps that dim over time and need replacement every couple of years, the laser module in the LU710 is rated for tens of thousands of hours. For a golfer who practices several times a week, that translates into years of consistent brightness without the dreaded lamp replace expense. In the real world, users reported that the colors stayed vivid even after months of heavy use, which is essential when you're trying to read the ball flight on the screen or differentiate the green from the fairway textures. The 92% Rec. .709 coverage backs that claim your projected image will look close to what you see on a calibrated monitor, so the swing data overlays line up accurately. Now let's talk about the downsides that aren't obvious from the spec sheet. The LU710 pushes 4,000 lumens, which is plenty for a dimly lit garage, but if you're trying to run a simulator in a room with bright windows or overhead lights, you'll still need to dim the environment or add blackout curtains. That's a hidden cost. Your existing space might need light blocking solutions before you even fire up the projector. Also, while the projector boasts 30% 2D Keystone correction, that only helps with minor alignment issues. If your ceiling isn't level or your screen is mounted at an angle, you'll quickly hit the limits of the Keystone feature and have to resort to physical adjustments. In short, the machine makes alignment easier, but it doesn't replace a proper mount. Dustproofing, IP5X, sounds like a marketing buzzword until you remember that a garage or a basement isn't exactly a clean room. The rating means the projector can tolerate a decent amount of dust without internal components clogging, which is a real comfort for anyone who's set up a simulator in a space that doubles as a workshop. However, the same rating does not make it waterproof, so you still need to keep it away from any water sources or high humidity. It's a practical safeguard, not a guarantee you can ignore basic maintenance. Who should consider buying the BenQ LU710? If you're a serious amateur golfer who already owns a launch monitor or a high-quality net and you want a realistic visual experience that matches your data, this projector is a solid match. The flexible throw ratio lets you fit it into cramped rooms, the laser light source promises longevity, and the color accuracy means you can trust the visual feedback for swing analysis. It also works well for other sports simulations, tennis, boxing, or even a cinematic gaming night because the image stays bright and accurate even after hours of use. Who should skip it? If you're just looking for a cheap way to turn your living room into a movie theater, You'll likely find better value in a standard home theater projector that's optimized for darkroom viewing and comes at a lower price point. Likewise, anyone who can't commit to controlling ambient light, say,